Raz. Czy coś działa, czy coś nie działa? Czekamy. 7 minut 50. Czy kogoś witam, czy kogoś goszczę? O, jest kolega Stanki, widzę. Czy jesteś, kolego, gotowy na ten podniosły moment? O. 60 000 ludzi czeka już. No jak nie wiesz? No kurczę. Co to jest za odpowiedź? Dobra. No już 2000 przybywa co minutę. Coś czuję, że tu będzie. Coś czuję, że tu ze 100 000 ludzi będzie. Siemandero. Dzisiaj przedziwny stream, po prostu oglądamy Cyberpunka. Ładne są obrazki na czacie, no ładne są. Oczywiście gameplay będzie po angielsku prawdopodobnie, no na pewno. Chciałbym, żeby pokazali chociaż cokolwiek spoza miasta, no. Aż dzisiaj po streamie, bo ten stream dzisiaj będzie wyjątkowo krótki, to sobie zdajecie sprawę z tego. Odpalę sobie chyba Blade Runnera, tego najnowszego. Daj na pełny ekran z kamerką. Nie mogę dać na pełny ekran, bo chyba nie można, wiesz? Musi być coś takiego, z tego co tam widziałem, wszyscy streamerzy mają to w jakimś tam okienku i tak dalej, nie? Dobra, 5 minut. No nie, czat na Twitchu to jest jakaś totalna porażka, chociaż przy 65 000 oczekujących, no to... Czy da ktoś link do oryginału? Oryginał to jest po prostu CD Projekt Red na Twitchu. Wejdź na Twitch i weź sobie oryginał CD Projekt Red kanał. Dobra, już 70 000. Czy mogę pokazać koszulkę, bo słabo widać? Koszulka jest taka. No ją ogólnie słabo widać. To jest od jednego z widzów, dostałem w prezencie husarz. Bardzo duży nadruk taki na całą koszulkę. Jest dla mnie trochę za duża, ale kolega był przewidujący. Pewnie przewidywał, że jeszcze waga może podskoczyć. Czy mam fioletowe wyposażenie w wod? Coś tam mam, ze 3 rodzaje jakieś czegoś. Jakieś dosyłacze. Może... Chyba dosyłacze głównie. Może mam jedną wentylację, już nie pamiętam. No i teraz te jeszcze zdobędę obligacje. Więc... Znaczy, mam nadzieję, że zdobędę. No przecież to jeszcze dużo czasu zostało. To jeszcze kupię coś. Może tego tygrysa sobie zrobię w fioletowych, tego twitchowego. No na full screena, tak. Jak się zacznie, to daję na full screena, tylko że będziecie mieli w tym. Właściwie to już mogę dać. Jakość auto. Czy kupiłem kolekcjonerkę? Nie, jeszcze w ogóle nie kupiłem tej gry. Co się odwlecze, to nie ucieczę. Żadnych dodatków preordery nie dostają, więc no nie wiem, kupię w przyszłym roku pewnie. Teraz mogę kasę przeznaczyć na jakieś inne gry, nie? 1080, ja nie wiem, czy to mi pociągnie. Nie chciałbym, żeby to coś przestało. Co z fitolizyną? Muszę w aptece kupić, muszę iść do apteki i kupić. No, 2 minuty. 80 000 widzów. Steelbooka dostają. Wiesz co? Mam takie wrażenie, że ta gra się stanie kultowa, tak jak kultowy stał się Fallout na przykład, że to jest gra z tej kategorii co Fallout. Tej samej kategorii co na przykład GTA, o, to, że to jest gra tego kalibru. Po obejrzeniu gameplaya to kończymy. Chociaż dzisiaj miała być straszna gierka, ale... No zobaczymy, oni coś tam jeszcze będą mówić chyba po tym gameplayu. World of Warplanes można dostać złoto za proste misje, ale wiesz, trzeba latać tam. Trzeba latać. Bo straszna gierka, no nieskończona została ostatnio. Tam jakaś łamigłówka była potężna, pamiętam. Dobra, minuta. Minuta. Chcesz kupić przed premierą pierwszy raz? No wiesz, ja kilka gier kupiłem. Co się zacięło? Ej, no kurka, zacięło mi się. Odświeżę to. O co tu chodzi? Nie no, zaciął mi się obraz. 19. Dobra, dobra, jedziemy! Jedziemy, moi drodzy! Kurka, się nie mogę doczekać. No. Kółeczka się kręcą, jest dobrze. Aha. Oj, ta gierka to będzie pół roku grania.
My name is Holly and I'm the UK head of communication here at CD Projekt Red, and I will be your host for today as
A co to
we take
takie?
a deep dive into Cyberpunk 2077. We're going to be showing you a video with new gameplay and new gameplay mechanics,
Ej, no.
and afterwards I'll be joined by 3 of our developers, Miles, Philip and Pavel, as we
Skąd
take a
to
closer
jeszcze
look at
leci?
some of the things you're going to see and hopefully answer some of your questions. On behalf of everybody,
Kurde, bela.
incredibly excited to share this new look at
Dobra. $110 000. No co to za ładny chłopaczek taki? No kurczę, co to ma być? O! Jest coś?
Okay. What now?
Barry,
Johnny?
Barry, on a le plancher.
No dobra. Nie tego się spodziewałem, kurczę.
Where are we?
Our BBS, Data Fortress. Bridge to the deep net.
black wall.
Welcome to the Cyberpunk 2077 2019 deep dive video. In last year's gameplay reveal, we showed you our vision for the world of Cyberpunk 2077, its quests, and visual design. This year, we'd like to give you a peek at some of the playstyles you'll be able to adopt as your character progresses through the story.
Here goes nothing.
You're about to see sequences embodying two distinct approaches to playing Cyberpunk. We'll show you a strong solo build, that is, a character who focuses on employing blunt force and taking instant action. And a netrunner build, a playstyle taking frequent advantage of stealth tactics, hacking, and battlefield control achieved using malicious software. Additionally, you'll learn more about Pacifica, one of the game's districts.
Zdecydowanie
the animals and the
u mnie będzie cichy
and you'll
gościu,
see glimpses
zabójca.
of Johnny Silverhand, the digital construct who haunts our main character, V. A word of caution. Given that the video covers a section of the game deep into the main storyline, we have edited the footage to contain as few spoilers as possible. Be aware that the gameplay as presented does reveal characters and locations you'll see while playing the game's main story arc. So watch at your own discretion.
Where are we headed?
This way.
In this video, you'll experience a segment of a quest from the middle of the game. We're currently in Pacifica, one of Night City's 6 unique
Nie,
districts.
grafiką to na pewno nie będzie miażdżyło.
Nah. You guys aren't exactly great at rolling
To
out the
jest za
welcome mat
duży
for
obszar,
outside.
żeby
It was
miażdżyło.
designed to be a tourist hotspot within the city. As you can see, this didn't pan out. When uncertainty struck the global economy, investors pulled their funding, leaving most establishments unfinished. It's one of those places where expectations and reality collided, resulting in a heap of disappointment. Ongoing gang wars plague this part of the city. Outsiders don't come here.
To mam wrażenie,
They
że
don't
to
have
miasto
to.
i tak
Even
jest za
by
małe,
Night
żeby
City
jeździć po tym
standards,
samochodami.
it's
i
dangerous to those unfamiliar with it. Taking a casual stroll here would not be a good idea. A fast motorbike or armor-plated car would be the safer option. But places like this
Musi
have
być po
their
polsku, no
advantages.
jak?
If you're in need of rare goods or illegal cyberware, Pacifica's bustling local markets are a good place to start your search. The Grand Imperial Mall is a whole other story.
No, tylko, że w
It
Metro
was one of the
Exodus
last
jest,
developments in
wiesz,
Pacifica to lose its
1/100
funding.
tych
Until recently it
elementów,
stood vacant,
które tu
but now a
są.
gang called the Animals has moved in for reasons unknown.
Something's not going right for the big guy up top.
And that's what we need to learn in order to earn the trust of the Voodoo Boys, the Animals' rivals.
What the hell?
Could fucking tell me what you plan to do first.
You take job. You do what I say. So you check in now.
Of the many
myślę, że
gangs
tu
in
będzie lepszy
Cyberpunk
klimat niż w
2077,
Metro.
the Voodoo Boys are the most skilled at using the net.
You have now seen the Rizzo Agwe, our subnet.
Why? What for?
You are my vessel now. You are
Keanu.
see what you see, hear what you hear.
This mysterious gang of highly skilled netrunners has close ties to the local Haitian community.
You are V? We have been waiting.
Haitians settled in Pacifica in the 2060s after natural disasters struck their island and forced them to emigrate en masse. The Voodoo Boys gang formed around this same time, though at a smaller scale. Now the gang effectively rules Pacifica. The Voodoo Boys don't usually work with outsiders. Lucky for us, it seems they're prepared to make an exception this time.
Mr. Hand sent me. Said you got merc work needs doing.
Still, to earn their trust, we need to prove our worth. Placide, one of the Voodoo Boys' higher-ups, has offered us a mission. We need to infiltrate the Grand Imperial Mall, currently occupied by the Voodoo Boys' deadly enemy, a gang called the Animals.
2035.
No, grafika wygląda tak trochę
Second
rozmyta.
before, poof, the camionette. We try to learn where the camionette come from.
The Animals are not your normal gang. Their presence in Pacifica is suspicious. They value might above all else and wear melee combat implants to raise their prowess in combat. Their beverage of choice is juice, a potent strength and speed-enhancing concoction. As sought-after bouncers, they're usually dispersed throughout town. As skilled street-level business types, they've cornered the market in illegal substances and underground live-or-die prize fights. When they converge in one spot, it's for something big. It's then they appoint the fastest and strongest among them as their ad hoc leader. In this case, it's a woman named
Wyobrażacie sobie, jak
Sasquatch.
wielki ten świat musi być?
No. As far as I remember, you said no bone brain buffaloes on steroids. Afraid that's the cost of doing biz.
This is the tech Placide was talking about. It seems non-standard for the animals. And this is where we come in. Getting to the van won't be easy, but we're more than qualified for the job, which we can complete in one of many ways. The character creation in Cyberpunk 2077 is the kind you'd expect from a full-fledged RPG. You start by choosing your past, important because this unlocks special options at important story junctures. You also fully customize your character using a deep customization system that spans not only your look and style, but also your abilities.
Ciekawe, czy grubasa można zrobić. Jeżeli będzie można, to zrobię najgrubszego gościa, jakiego można zrobić. To drzewko dosyć niezłe, chociaż myślałem, że bardziej będzie rozbudowane.
Let's see how a solo play style in Cyberpunk 2077 might work. Solos prefer a direct approach. They use guns and might to get things done. So let's wreak some havoc.
Czyli pokażą takiego ostrego gościa.
We can strip this turret of its weapons and give the animals a taste of their own medicine. This is how a player investing in solo abilities might live out their Terminator power fantasy. Enhanced strength lets us force open doors.
To masz pusty świat, nie?
Or grab enemies to use as human shields. We also gain access to powerful melee combat cyberware.
Będzie się hakowało
so even someone as fast and strong as Sasquatch, the leader of this group of animals, is not impossible.
Dobrze, że zlikwidowali te cyferki wyskakujące z kobiety. O kurka wodna.
But Sasquatch has a different game plan. She's out to jack in and hack us. Let's see how this plays out.
Ready for some fun?
To jest kobieta?
Proceed. What's going on?
To chyba kobieta jest. Jakieś cyferki lecą, to mi się nie podoba. Mam nadzieję, że to będzie można wyłączyć te cyferki.
It's our choice if we want to finish her off or spare her. You're Cyberpunk, your rules.
Jestem za cicho?
If you'd rather sneak around, hide and strike from the shadows.
To teraz może będzie lepiej.
Just develop your net running skills to get around
cyferki można wyłączyć. No i właśnie.
To have it do the dirty work for you.
Ile tu będzie możliwości, to szok. O!
Net running abilities mean hacking skills that let us use our cyber deck to breach access points.
Hakowanie.
For this, we fill the buffer of our cyber deck with a
Oby
string
nie
of
za dużo
instructions
zręcznościówki.
represented by these letters and numbers. Matching the instructions for basic access grants us control of devices connected to this network. The more instructions we match, the more control we gain over elements in the network. We can hack our way through in
To zamiast gwinta?
A quick hack may grant us control of the security camera. Another one should let us tweak the difficulty of the training bot to create a distraction.
Każda kobieta jest piękna. Po pijaku.
With our nanowire, we can even hack this guy's implants from a distance.
Garota. Co to jest? Co to było?
In this world, almost everything is connected to a local network.
To będzie tak jakby grać w Deusa, ale
it can be hacked.
w Deusa 10, kurczę.
Which brings us back to cyberspace. You don't get to do anything in the net unnoticed. There's always someone watching. It could be corpos, or even worse, it could be Netwatch. And that is exactly the case here.
Who is they?
Netwatch. They're always out to fuck us.
Netwatch and the Voodoo Boys are like fire and ice. The first of these wants to maintain
Pozdrawiam,
the
panie
order
Wojciechu,
and protect
pozdrawiam.
people from AI anarchy originating from beyond the Black Wall. The Voodoo Boys want to establish contact with the free AIs. They believe this will enable their boundless expansion on the net and grant them the upper hand over Netwatch. Netwatch sees this as the end of the world. Both are
Nie,
right.
czołgi nie.
Whoa, hey.
How you deal with the Netwatch agent is entirely up to you. Do we side with the gang? Choosing to be on Netwatch's bad side is never wise. But can we really trust the Voodoo Boys?
You set me up!
As you can see, we have many possible options. But in each case, we take a risk.
Think I'll just stick to my plan.
Ej, teren jest spory! Czyżby to był cały teren gry? Miasto jest tutaj, a zobaczcie, że terenu jest dużo. Widzieliście to?
That didn't work out
Miasto
well.
zajmowało
In the world of Cyberpunk, few things go as planned.
1/6? Ja nie wiem, czy to jest
And that was
gameplay,
just a glimpse
czy się
of
dopiero
how
zacznie.
complex the branching storyline in Cyberpunk 2077 can
Znaczy,
get.
to jest gameplay, tylko jest tak
Every decision you
pocięty
make
na
will have
kawałki.
consequences. Your choices will shape how the world reacts to you and affect your relationships with those around you. One of those relationships
Nie,
is
później
special.
nic nie będzie.
Ever heard of Johnny Silverhand? A rebel rocker boy who will be your companion throughout your adventure in Night City?
Ale nie wygląda tak ładnie jak
Give a rat's
ten.
dick how you look.
Like everyone in Cyberpunk 2077, he
Jak na
has his own
filmiku.
agenda. You'll decide if he'll be your ally or your enemy. And that chip in your head, the one thanks to which Johnny lives inside your mind. Well, that's a story for another time.
No słyszałem, że ma być trochę mniejsza od wieśka, ale to miasto musiałoby być przeogromne.
Welcome back. Now, following the deep dive, there is an awful lot to talk about. So I found 3 of the very best. Oh, you look so happy. But I think just in case people aren't super familiar with Cyberpunk 2077, why don't you introduce yourself one by one so everybody knows who they're listening to?
Hey, I'm Miles. I'm one of the level designers at CD Projekt Red.
Hello, I'm Paweł, and I'm a lead of the Quest team, and it's a great pleasure to be talking to you.
So I'm Philip, and I'm one of their
Czyli
Quest
dużo
designers,
zależy
so I
od
work
tego
really
środkowego.
closely with Paweł over here.
Oh, thank you guys for being my participants in this video. Let's get started because the last demo we saw took place in Watson. This time we're in Pacifica. They're very different, and that's super important for Night City that it feels different. So what do you need to consider as a level designer when you're building a place like this?
All right, we are diving right into it.
Yeah.
Mi się wydaje, że w tej grze będzie można totalnie się zagubić, to znaczy, że będzie tyle możliwości, że aż za dużo. W Wiedźminie mieliśmy ogromny obszar, mogliśmy sobie jechać do tej wioski, do tej jaskini, gdzieś tam, a tu będziemy w mieście, czyli tak naprawdę wszędzie coś jest. To będzie nie do ogarnięcia być może. No wydaje mi się, że to już jest po gameplayu, nie wiem. Spodziewałem się raczej takiego normalnego. No grafika nie może być wypasiona. Jeżeli oni zrobili taką mapę bez tego. Gra powinna kosztować 100 zł? Chłopie, kiedyś, co to ja kupiłem takie beznadziejne, co było? Dragon Age ostatni? 200 zł dałem przed premierą. Kurka. Najgorzej wydane 200 zł.
It's pretty noticeable that it's almost post-apocalyptic, right? The district has a rich history that caused it to basically fall into disarray after it was initially
No chłopaki są stremowani, wiadomo.
jewel of tourism. But clearly, as you can see from the footage, that actually didn't quite work out that way. And now you'll actually see things like burning
biorąc
cars
pod
on
uwagę
the
wielkość
streets,
tych wieżowców, to oczywiste jest, że nie będzie można wszędzie wejść, że każdy wieżowiec będzie miał ile? 3 piętra, 4? Normalnie ma z 50 pięter, tak? Prawdopodobnie. Tak naprawdę, gdyby zrobili jeden wieżowiec z 50 piętrami, ten mega building, to by to było już na całą grę. 200 zł za grę to bardzo dużo. To zależy, ile będziesz w to grał. Jak pograsz jeden dzień i ci się znudzi, to rzeczywiście za dużo. Ale jak pograsz 100 dni, to jeden dzień grania będzie cię kosztował 2 zł. Właśnie, za kurka wodna Pagan Online 5 dych dałem, chłopie. Wiedźmina oczywiście, że przebije, no jak? Już go prawdopodobnie przebił.
Kind of dominant gang who has taken over there. In the case of Pacifica, that would be the Voodoo Boys. And unlike the Maelstromers that we saw last year,
no wróciłem.
Deeply ingrained within the community.
Także pozdrawiam serdecznie.
They actually they're not your typical sort of
to na moim kompie nie pójdzie? Co ty gadasz? Musi pójść. Jak nie pójdzie, to sprzedam resztę kolekcji monet i kupię sprzęt. Nie, to pójdzie, no jak nie pójdzie, co ty? Tu nie masz takiej wypasionej super grafiki, to tylko obszar wielki. Co sądzę o kupowaniu gier z G2? Chyba nigdy tam nie kupowałem. Chociaż nie, mam tam konto, może i tam kiedyś coś kupiłem. Nie wiem, ja lubię kupować na Allegro ogólnie gry. Właśnie. Kolego sympatyczny, jeden czołg do WOTA kosztuje połowę tej gry, a nawet więcej. Jaki tam najdroższy czołg jest w WOTie? Ze 150 zł pewnie kosztuje. Czyli kolego, który pisałeś, w WOTie masz tylko jeden czołg. Takie skupisko pikselków, w którym możesz sobie grać. I teraz jak w WOTie kupisz czołg za 100 zł, czy za 150 piszą, czy za 170, to powiedz mi, czy 100 dni będziesz grał tym czołgiem. Na pewno nie.
And the Haitian community, right? They arrived actually in Night City because of the environmental changes that were happening in the world. Haiti is actually completely flooded.
Deus Ex z dużo większym budżetem, tak. Jeżeli byłby to klimat Deusa jedynki, to coś cudownego, bo w jedynce było takie, to była taka nowość.
They were left there and they built their own community there and they gave the seed, they become the seed for all the stories that we are telling.
Największy pak, jak się WOT zaczynał, to był 400 zł. Ja się za głowę wtedy złapałem. No 100 tysięcy ludzi jest na streamie.
No.
So how do you design a non-linear level? You've got the building, you're thinking, right, well, the person who's playing on their game, they might have a more techie style of playthrough, but this person might want to go in all guns blazing. How do you design levels for all these different playstyles?
GTX 1060
yeah, we do
i
give the player a lot
piątka
of different tools to use as he
i
goes
8
through a
giga.
level,
No
and
to
that makes
przecież mój sprzęt
designing
jest
these
o wiele
things
lepszy.
quite complex, I will say. But you know, just to sort of understand our mentality.
Gdzie będę kupował?
I
No
can
na
actually-
Gogu.
I'll attempt, maybe
Ponad
you'll help me out
150
with this one,
tysięcy
to
było.
go back in our development well, some time. And to really sort of, we came up with this example to sort of establish this kind of mentality that we wanted to have when we approached our level designs and the way we do our encounters, right? And the example was rather simple. The goal was for a player to go from one
Nie, The
room
Walking
to another,
Dead to już chyba
but,
przeszłość.
the
Ostatnia
main way
część
to
The
go
Walking
from that
Dead
one
bardzo
room to
mnie
another would be
zmęczyła,
sort of
wiesz?
like a
Bardzo
door.
mnie zmęczyła.
And
Tutaj czy
be it
będzie
through,
tryb
like,
multi,
scan or
to-
a device, it doesn't
to
really
mnie za
matter
bardzo
for
nie
the example.
interesuje.
Actually, going through this door would ultimately result in the player losing his weapons, but the task was to actually kill a person on the other side of that
Znaczy
door,
to mi
right?
nie musi chodzić na
Now,
maksymalnych
we use this sort of
ustawieniach.
example to
Ja bym
sit
tylko
down and
chciał,
think,
żeby to
okay,
względnie
how will we
wyglądało
do
i
this
już.
in all these kind of different
Prawdopodobnie
playstyles, right? So
klimat
perhaps,
zostanie
one way would be
zachowany.
to, convince a guard that would be stationed next to the door, just
Wiedźmin
let you
4.
through, right? Through like sort of like a social
No tylko
kind
czyje
of,
przygody, no bo
or
niby
you
Geralta
could
już
take the
nie.
guy out, take, I don't know, like a pass that would enable you to go through the door without.
Czy Siri by było
letting him go
ciekawe?
with a
Raczej
gun.
nie.
Maybe if you are
Nie chciałbym
invested
w
as a
taką
melee
grę grać
character, actually
kobietą.
doesn't really matter to you. You just walk through the door and then punch the guy on the other side into like a pile
Ale
of blood.
Wesemir?
Or maybe as a kind of hacker type of character.
Ray
you try to
tracing
find
to jest
a way
przereklamowane
to reach the
tam.
network, to disable
Ja mam
the
takie wrażenie,
device,
że ten
right,
ray
the
tracing
scanner
został
that would
tylko
prevent
po
the
to
weapon
zrobiony,
usage,
żeby nowe karty
allowing you
graficzne
to move
kupować.
through and, then use
Różnica
your
jest
guns
tak
on whatever
niewielka,
target
jak
is.
oglądałem z ray
Maybe as a
tracingiem
kind
bez.
of
To różnica
fast
jest po
solo
prostu...
kind of character, you'd be able to jump out of the window onto windowsill, double jump to the,
No tu właśnie to
like a
pokazali, to jest
balcony and then
ciekawe.
enter through the window there. And the list goes on and on with examples that we try to come up for this kind of door, and it's sort of, again, it's just to
Nie no, Jaskier to
showcase
się nie nadaje
how we
chyba do
sort of
takiej
think
gry.
about these levels, right?
Lamberta.
As, putting in a problem that the player has
Wesemir
to
z
solve,
młodości, no
and
jedynie
we give them
chyba.
a lot of different tools and
Ewentualnie
possibilities
Leto.
to solve this issue or bypass it in
O,
their own
granie,
way.
tylko
And
że
that is how we're
musiałby
hoping
inaczej
to really
wyglądać. Przesadzili tam z
create
wielkością
an,
tego Leto.
experience for the player that they feel inherently is their own, right? They came up with a solution given the systems that we
Dzisiaj balona nie
gave them.
będzie. Ten balon to już się
And,
skończył,
and
bo tam
they
już się
really
wszystko
get to feel
zaczęło
like the
powtarzać.
badass Cyberpunk V that we want them to feel like.
It's actually also a lot of fun to work on this from a story perspective.
A może
because,
zrobią
as an
jakiegoś
example,
takiego
in the Wild
Wiedźmina,
Hunt, we were already working
którego
with very
nie ma w
non-linear
ogóle w
stories,
książkach.
but now we also have this non-linear gameplay approach.
I on
And for
będzie
us, it
spotykał
was
te
always
znane
really
postaci.
important to have these choices and consequences.
Zupełnie nowy
So we did them
Wiedźmin.
in the story, anything should matter somehow. But now we
Ślubny
can also
syn
see,
Geralta.
okay, players
No
have
tylko,
all
że
of
to
these
by
different
musiało być,
choices
wiesz,
to solve a situation. So of course, there should also sometimes be some
biorąc pod uwagę, że
consequences, and not
Wiedźmini
just on
są
the gameplay
bezpłodni
side, how you
chyba,
solve
no
it,
to
but of course, the
jakby
story
to
should
niby
react
miało
to,
być.
do I just run into this room and kill a few guys, or do I, choose a super
Czarodziejki
different
też są
approach?
bezpłodne.
Sometimes this can now open up a completely new way to go through a quest. So, it actually, I think it added to this whole layer
Jak
of
mi się podobało. No
non-linearity,
bardzo mi się
that there's
podobało,
quite a
tylko
few, let's say, more
spodziewałem
things
się
we have to
płynnego
do, but
gameplayu,
the thing is,
tak
it
jak
is a
ten
challenge
pierwszy
for us,
był.
but it's actually a really fun challenge. It's actually really cool to
Granie
come up
pierwszym
with all these
stworzonym
ideas.
Wiedźminem, no...
And the thing is also our quests are iterated upon a lot. So
Ale
as an
fajnie by
example,
było,
quest designers, of course, we play them ourselves.
bo tu mieliśmy
Hallack
taki
as our lead
powiedzmy
plays them
zmierzch
again. Directors
Wiedźminów.
play them, and also, most
A
importantly,
fajnie by
QA
było,
plays our
gdyby
quests
zrobili
a lot,
grę
and
w
our
czasach,
QA team has
kiedy
really,
był
really good
rozkwit
ideas.
tego, czyli
So,
ten
they always
Kermoren,
think,
było
okay,
tam
what do I
super
think right now?
prosperującą
What would I want
twierdzą
to
i
do
tak
in this
dalej.
situation? And then we often communicate, and this is how some of the best ideas are actually created, just through going through these missions over and over again, and always finding some new ways to approach them, and some new ways to, find interesting consequences.
Grodzka mówi, że może mieć dzieci.
And that
No może
think
mieć,
sort of,
no jak nie
ties
może
up with
mieć?
the whole philosophy of a game,
Jak zrobi gościu
which is
komuś,
the
no
freedom.
to...
And we have a freedom on the story layer, and maybe I don't
Naturalnie,
want
że
to talk
może
about
mieć.
it too much, not to spoil it, but
Są zwierzęta w
but
rafcie.
it ties up with the gameplay very well, with like the way how the
Był
levels
za
are
krótki.
constructed
Ile
and
trwał
the
ten
branching
gameplay?
gameplay is
10
just
minut?
explained because player has freedom
Wydaje mi się,
playing
że
the
jeszcze
game. You build
będzie.
your character the way you want, and you play the way you want, and you want
No bo
the
jest
player to feel this
20:26,
choice,
tak?
that he's doing depending of
No to-
how skills he's assigning, what weapons he or she is picking, and all that, and it all comes together as like fulfilling this ultimate like cyberpunk fantasy.
So
No,
in the
Keanu
demo,
wyglądał
we
jak nie
saw the
Keanu.
bike. There was a little mention of the heavy armor car, But can you tell us a little bit more about the kinds of vehicles that will be in Cyberpunk 2077?
I can tell you a little bit about it. So
15
there's
minut
of
było
course many
gameplayu.
different kinds of vehicles because we want to create a real open city, a city that makes sense in the year 2077. So there will be all kinds of vehicles, and of course there's also society.
Ciekawe, czy rowery będą.
So, we also have different art styles that correspond with the
Albo
different
hulajnogi.
parts of society. So we have the art style called entropy. So as an example, you might see vehicles that are just very useful. They're made to just bring a person from A to B, or they're made to do a job. And of course, but the player can choose to have them as well, especially if
Dzisiaj wota nie będzie, absolutnie.
But there's also super luxury.
No mam nadzieję, że na koniec jeszcze coś zostawili tego gadania. Później sobie to odsłucham na spokojnie. Chociaż nie sądzę, żeby tutaj cokolwiek powiedzieli więcej niż jest już wiadome.
What are the kinds of vehicles players would want to have in a Cyberpunk game?
War Thunder będą chińskie pojazdy.
We of course also have bikes like
no niech
our very
będą.
own
Czym więcej, tym lepiej
one
chyba.
One of my favorites. It's a very, very cool bike. And there's some, let's say, surprise vehicles that
Ciekawe, jak będzie rozwiązany temat ekwipunku. Czy na przykład w samochodzie będzie jakieś składowisko sprzętu?
Now I'm really intrigued.
No bo nie widać, żeby gościu miał jakiś plecak, ani nic takiego, nie? No prostytutki muszą być, chłopie. Mam nadzieję, że nie będą tak drogie jak w Wiedźminie.
Through specific story moments, you might get to, ride in them sometimes. So, we want to give you a few different experiences. But yeah, you can also, of course, you have your garage or your apartment. You can also have your own vehicle that you store, that you can call to yourself. So,
pozdrawiamy najlepszego streamera w Polsce 9 zł 50 groszy.
It will be your very own.
Panie Kot, bardzo serdecznie dziękuję. Pozdrawiam Ciebie i całą rodzinkę. A Pani jeszcze buziaka Ci daje, jak żona nie patrzy.
And you kind of want people to explore it by foot, right? You could just walk like from point A to point B if that's what you want, or drive.
You could, but probably you would get pretty tired because it's a pretty big place, so you will have to walk a lot. So the thing is,
wolałbym rzeczywiście chodzić po tym mieście albo korzystać z komunikacji tak zwanej miejskiej, tak jak było w Mass Effectie, czyli taksówki, po prostu. Ale zobaczcie, ile tu jest ludzi i jaka jest różnorodność ubrań,
When I play the game, I don't want to fast travel. I want to explore the city because we actually try to give you so many interesting things, so many places that tell a story that look interesting, where you have something to do, where you can interact with things that just something new for you at every corner. So
Witam, panie Jacku. Czy dzisiaj będzie granie? Dzisiaj nie będzie streama. Znaczy, no jest niby, ale raczej nie będzie. Jutro coś tam zrobimy. Straszną gierkę jutro zrobimy.
How the traffic would work in that city and how it would actually make the most sense, how a city like that would actually grow organically and how it would
no właśnie, to też jest ciekawe z tymi korkami, z tym ruchem ulicznym, bo na gameplayach nie ma ruchu ulicznego za bardzo. Puste ulice były.
To make the city feel alive.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so in The Witcher, everybody who's played The Witcher
drętwe jak pupa dziadka.
on the map, those points of interest.
No jak dziadek zarzuci coś, to nie jest taki drętwy.
You can't walk past them.
Nie zdziwię się, jak w Cyberpunku nie znajdziemy dwóch identycznych postaci. Myślę, że to jest możliwe. Nie, wyprawy do Biedronki nie było. Dzisiaj robiłem test racji bojowej, tej żywieniowej. Nagrane jest, także jutro na kanał to wrzucę. Kasza gryczana z mięsem i makaron z sosem bolońskim, czy tam makaron boloński. Nie będzie streama z gry, no nie będzie. Znaczy był już, a teraz gadają. Rewolucji na razie nie ma, no powinna już być, jakby coś było złe, czyli jedzenie jest dobre. A najlepsze są batoniki
we actually
takie
found a
owocowe
completely
tam w
new
środku.
team, the open world team, which is actually creating some amazing content to actually fill this world with things that are meaningful. So, you know, we actually want to make this that you can do many also smaller things around the city, but they're actually all cool and unique in their own way. And one cool thing is also, of course, they appear on your map, but the map in the game is actually properly immersive. It's that really, really cool looking point cloud version of Night City. And you can see the tasks from your fixer there. But the cool thing is actually...
Ciekawe, jak będzie mapa wyglądała, właśnie. No bo to, co z boku jest, no to rozumiem, ale czy będzie jakieś M i na cały ekran mapa? Taka trójwymiarowa. Jesteś w Portugalii na wakacjach, jeszcze Biedronki nie widziałeś.
Even simple tasks can be fun and exciting if we pack them
Jak tam
up
z
in a
robotą,
cool
czy mamy jakichś
story
klientów?
and
No
root them within the world, right? We can use these street
dwóch
stories
klientów mam na
to
razie.
expand further on how life in
Ale
that city and
spokojnie.
the world of Cyberpunk in general works. And sometimes this might even be a better staging ground than the main story itself, right? Where just like, hey, let's see how everyday life works in this kind of aspect from this perspective in this scenario. And
Grzybice można złapać? No możliwe, możliwe.
That's a lot of fun. And it's a very exciting process, and I hope that when players play it at the end, that they will actually find that it sort of enriches their experience, because they always kind of have this impression like, hey, wow, no matter where I go, things are actually worked out, right? It's never just a simple sort of task of, hey, do things, like, but there's always a reason, there's always an understanding of why you're doing things, and even in those few scenarios where it might seem a bit more, you know, oblivious, you'll usually find that, you know, there's more to it that meets the eye.
Yeah, and one interesting thing about those street stories is also that, you know, our main story is of course your own personal journey.
Radzieckie klony pomalowane amerykańskie. No, jeżeli tak było, no to chyba tak musi być w grze, no bo stawiają na realizm. Myślę, że to będzie najlepsza gra, w jaką w życiu grałem. I że stwierdzę to już po jednym dniu albo 2 dniach grania.
So in the deep dive, we can see that the character has 3 sort of origins that we can pick. I mean, what are they and how do they actually affect the gameplay?
Oh, okay.
You're like, yes, let's go.
Yeah, okay. I'll go into my 50-minute answer. Okay, so we actually call them life paths. Those are the origin stories that player can pick, and it's actually 3 of them. So you can be a street kid, you can be a nomad, or you can be a corporal. Now, each of them
nie okaże się porażką, bo to jest niemożliwe.
So you start in a completely different way than other life path.
Czy WOTA już nie będzie? No WOT to cały czas będzie, no jak? Cyberpunk dopiero wychodzi w przyszłym roku. Wiedźmin 3 też miał być wybitny. No Wiedźmin 3 jest wybitny. Wiedźmin 3 jest ewidentnie najlepszą grą fantasy RPG. Także no nie ma konkurencji, no jaka może być konkurencja? Baldur's Gate? No Baldur's Gate coś zupełnie innego to jest. Co tam jeszcze było takiego ciekawego? Oblivion, Morrowind, to w porównaniu do tego, czy Skyrim, w porównaniu do Wiedźmina to wszystko jest cienkie, jak szczypiorek na wiosnę. Gothic, daj spokój, to było tak drewniane, że szok. Historia ciekawa, natomiast gra niezwykle drewniana.
What's the deal with them? You actually can use this knowledge and sometimes get something more. You can actually unlock side branches in the dialogues, and you can unlock side branches in the whole quest sometimes. And this is a bit exciting, I would say. It's something like the way how we to make sure that the player can role play their character.
Trzeba chłodno podejść.
That person.
A tam
in
wiesz.
the demo that we have shown in the recording, you can see, you know, this moment when
Fallouty nie są fantasy, ale czy są lepsze? Myślisz, że Fallout trójka albo co tu ten ostatni, to który był? Czwórka, tak? Myślisz, że to będzie gorsze od Fallouta? Kurde, a co w tym Falloutie takiego ciekawego było? Ile w Falloutie było fajnych questów? 2? 3? A tak to musiałeś za każdym razem tu idź obroń wioskę, tu idź obroń wioskę i tak w kółko. Boliviana Airlines znam już dzięki, a jak z noclegami w tej części świata. W Boliwii? Bez żadnego problemu znajdziesz noclegów w cenie od $10, od 30-40 zł za pokój. Za 100 zł hotel z basenem, z klimą, z wszystkim, z takim śniadaniem jak u króla Jana III.
So anyone who's played the original tabletop version of Cyberpunk is used to the idea of assigning attribute points to create a character.
Jak wyszedł Fallout 3, to jeszcze była szansa i była nadzieja, że następne części będą coraz lepsze, lepsze i lepsze. Tymczasem goście nic nie zrobili, żeby ulepszyć. Te same sztywne ruchy, te same questy powtarzalne.
How much body strength you have, or how much reflexes you have, or how cool you are. You know, that's one of the interesting stats that we have, right? But then, as you have those attributes, you also have skills. The skills define a bit more interesting.
Tego trochę więcej by mogło być to, co tu jest. Jest perks, biomonitor i jeszcze stats. Questy, mapa, jest mapa, czyli będzie duża mapa.
To survive in a really tough situation. So at the moment, you get a lot of damage, then the cold blood skill kicks in thanks to your cool stat. It kicks in
gameplay
and
już
gives you a
był.
boost in damage, and then as a player you can, survive and so on.
Ja w WOTA dzisiaj nie gram. Dzisiaj tylko stream z tego robimy i tak się podjarałem, że muszę zobaczyć Blade Runnera. A na streamie oglądać nie można. Nie jest po remoncie, nie, to jeszcze zejdzie. Czekam przede wszystkim na obniżenie temperatury, bo...
Pick it up and like stuff it into the fridge or in a trash bin. Now, as a player, you normally slow down when you're moving around with the bodies. But if you have added special perks to your athletic skill, you can now run with the dead body. So because you are more athletic, you can do that. And those are like 3 levels of complexity in our character, in building the character we have. You have the attributes, you have the skills, and
Będę w tej grze
perks to it.
grubym gościem, jak najsłabszym.
To allow you to create your own amazing character that you want to play it.
A lot of people think this
Ale
is
za to
maybe
będzie
how
dobrze
cool
hakował.
you look, and it's all about the jacket you're wearing, but the cool stat is not.
Czy kojarzę gierkę Escape from Tarkov? Tak, kiedyś to grałem.
This is Cyberpunk, so being cool is of course very important, but the actual cool stat really means how cool you are under pressure, how much you have control over your body. So are there people shooting at me and I'm holding my gun like that? Probably not very cool. So this is the kind of thing that cool actually controls. But of course, if you want to play a character that's actually cool, you have your choices, right? You can wear your nice
Czekasz na nowe The Last of Us.
And of course, like in real life, also depends
No pierwsza część The Last of Us rzeczywiście chyba najlepsza konsolowa gra, w jaką grałem.
Like, cool on the surface, but not so much when push comes to shove.
Happens sometimes.
So in the deep dive we saw a quick clip of the inventory
wytrawnym
screen.
balarze
It looks like a proper
wszelakich
old school
powierzchni.
RPG screen, with the little blocks of the system. And I know
Ile
the
wycisnę
community
na ławie?
wants
No
to
nie
hear
wiem,
more
z
about
200
what they
kilo
can
chyba.
expect. So tell us more, Miles.
Oh, I will. Now, of course, like how I always say is,
Assassin's
in
Creed,
the inventory screen, of
Origin,
course, where we manage our items,
wszystkie
right?
gry z otwartym światem.
In Cyberpunk, it's where we also manage our style, and just as Philip just touched on.
No nie grałem, to tutaj się nie wypowiem.
Like it's really important for us to be able, for you to be able to realize your character, and that
Dzisiejszego czołgu z targu nie ma. No nie ma, słuchaj, bo rano zrobiłem o tym stalowych łowcach, a później się to wydarzyło i nie ma. Jutro będzie nowy czołg. Pompowanie balonika, zawyżone ambicje. Grafika to sraka. Najniższego szczebla, a gameplay przeciętny. Tyle z Cyberpunka. To dlaczego kupisz i będziesz siedział przy tym całe dni?
Goes to show that is really important to us, and of course, you know, the whole role-playing aspect goes even further because we'll have some customization options not only for the way you look like, but also your guns, right?
Ruda fajna. No Ruda podobno tańczy jak szalona, a tu coś tak kiepsko.
Or sneak into different you know, bases, locations, because of course there's also where we mentioned cyberware, and all of these little things brought together, again, they've sort of allowed you to...
Swoją drogą dziewczynom musi być gorąco w głowę, nie? Z takim kokiem na głowie.
In the inventory, yes, we're changing our clothes, we want to look super cool.
To musi działać jak czapa taka wełniana.
Can we do anything with cyberware from the inventory screen?
Oh, yes. So imagine inventory screen, right? So if you see the player there, you have a slot, so normally,
masz nadzieję, że Cyberpunk starczy mniej więcej na tyle godzin co Wiesiek? Wydaje mi się, że będzie większy, wiesz? Wydaje mi się, że będzie większy.
Kapol Hallack, kiedy pograsz sobie coś w Outlasta na streamie 10 zł.
Nie wiem, co to za gra. Szczerze mówiąc, nazwa jest mi znajoma, ale nigdy chyba nie widziałem tego. Chyba, że to jest to takie po zakładzie psychiatrycznym, co Faja kiedyś grał. To jeżeli to jest, to nie będę w to grał. Dzięki oczywiście serdeczne. Wychodzi ten Blair Witch, to może to się zakupi.
But there are also other pieces that you can do on your own. And on top of that, as a player, you can also find pieces, small pieces called shards. And those, if you slot into your slot, you can actually, they give you a power of a given cyberware, so you can try it out. So as a player, you can experiment a bit, you know, and see how it would be if I would have installed, you know, some special piece of cyberware in my body. And that allows the player to, you know, to see stuff, to figure it out, to build their character the way they want.
Okay, so we know we can equip some of our cybernetic enhancements in the inventory, but like, where do we get them? Like, how do we get more enhancements?
All right, there's actually multiple ways of going about that, right? The most obvious one is going to a so-called Ripperdoc and getting new cyberware built in you, or enhancing the cyberware that you have. Some of it you will actually get.
Czy chciałbym siedzieć na kanapie obok Rudej?
Night City.
Jak wygodna kanapa, to chciałbym.
Plan that we have, right? It's almost mandated on top of you because it's sort of like a core gameplay mechanic to be able to scan.
Ciekawe, jak brzmi polski dubbing. O, to jest bardzo ciekawe. Ciekawe, kto będzie Keanu Reevesa podkładał. Kogo byście chcieli na podkładkę Keanu Reevesa? Jakiego polskiego aktora?
In the game, that means, you know, more vendors will open up to you, more services will open up, people will have heard of you and are more willing to work with you. So there's actually multiple ways this
no nie, no Karolak bez przesady. Rozenek. Nie, no to by było przegięcie, jakby Rozenek był. Naprawdę, to kurka to już było takie przegięcie. Żebrowskiego. O! Pazurę? Nie, Pazura to taki śmieszek jak Jim Carrey coś. A co byście powiedzieli na przykład na dwóch gości? Albo Grucha, tylko nie wiem jak ten aktor się nazywa, Grucha, albo Boguś Linda, to by było niezłe, to by było niezłe. Mirosław Grucha-Zbrojewicz, o. O, to by on ciekawy głos ma.
We also try to come up with nice custom things, so
Jeszcze
depending on
mógłby
where
być
you
ten,
are, let's say, if you're in a gym where there's some nice boxing robot, of course,
Jak on się nazywał,
maybe you can do
kurczę?
some fun things with that. So I think as a netrunner, it's always lots of fun to use different things. And as an example, if I would use lots of netrunning
Nie
skills,
Diegula,
it's
tylko
also
jakoś
really
właśnie
useful to use
tak.
lots of
Stachula?
cool skills that make me really good at
Tam,
stealth,
gdzie Piotr
and,
Franceski
really
grał,
under
taki
control.
serial
Netrunner
był.
can be really good at, also using distractions, like if there's a vending machine, just
Jędrula,
make it spit out some drinks, and then of course, some people might look after that.
Jędrula
But the
był
thing is, the
taki
netrunner
gościu.
Isn't, just a stealth
Ten też by się
character. There's also
nadawał.
cool, aggressive netrunning abilities, because we always want to give you the choice of how to play. So
Tam ta
we
ładna
have your
dziewczyna taka
nanowire
była.
Cyberware, which is really good at hacking enemies from a distance and then actually taking over their
Linda
cyberware.
tak, ale
So,
Linda to by takie
most
pieniądze
people in
sobie
the world have
zażyczył,
cyberware
że...
in their body, so just like access points.
Ale
Very
to
good
było
times for
ciekawe.
netrunners. So you can then control that cyberware and also do some nice things, like, as an example, hack someone's cyberware in their hand and make them do some things they might not want to have happen to them. But the thing is also the nanowire, of course.
Także
it's
dla
a
mnie
wire.
albo grucha,
It's
albo
nano,
jędrula.
Very, sharp, so you can also use it as a weapon or as a whip, and the netrunner
Blondyna
can
od
be very
jędruli.
effective at using his skills in combat as well.
Krwawy
So
baron,
that's just,
dokładnie.
your choice as a player.
What about,
Zobaczcie,
let's
ilu w
say,
Wiedźminie
this
było
all sounds amazing. Let's say you want to do
zatrudnionych.
slightly non-lethal. 'Cause in the deep dive we did
Ciekawy
sort of
jestem,
the
kto z
Sasquatch
tych
at the end. There was an option.
zatrudnionych przy
do you
Wiedźminie
want to
będzie
go misery,
tutaj.
Or
O!
do you want to let her live? So how do people play it, like a non-lethal playthrough?
Grabowski?
Can you build a class
Grabowski
to
ma
help you
taki
do that?
głos stary już
So that's basically
mocno.
a choice we made. We really said, okay, Cyberpunk
No
is
Jędrula
a very
był
violent
krwawym baronem,
world,
tak.
but you're
Frycz
role-playing
tak.
your character. You can choose to play the
Kurka
whole game
wodna
without
Frycz
killing
byłby
a single
całkiem
person.
niezły.
And of course, we're always saying this
Jako
should also have
ktokolwiek.
an effect on the story. So certain characters, in a quest might ask you, yeah, please do this thing for me, but
Ja tylko
don't
najbardziej
make too much trouble. And of course, you don't get a game
niepokoję
over
się,
if you do a thing that the character doesn't want.
jak oni
So,
podłożą
but the story will react.
głosy
And we wanna
pod
give you that
czarnoskórych
choice, but of course,
występujących w
not
grze.
only
Na
the
przykład
netrunner
ten
is able to do
Dexter
non-lethal
Duchon,
playthrough.
czy jak on tam
Every
się
player,
nazywa.
however you want to skill your character, you're able to do
No
it
tutaj ma
somehow.
taki
But of course, it
charakterystyczny
also
głos.
depends, where you are. Let's
A
say,
jaki Polak
if you're in
jest w
some
stanie
rundown
to
ruin that doesn't have lots of
przysymulować?
netrunning abilities, of course, the netrunner still has ways to do it. But he might not be able to use all of his netrunning skills. But another
Leto
player
grał
who
grucha,
has still
dokładnie.
different ways, now has a different experience. But it can happen vice
Dla
versa.
Leto
But
podkładał
what we always wanna
głos
say,
grucha,
you can finish the whole
zdecydowanie.
game, you can finish the quests
I
without
całkiem
killing a
fajne to
single
było.
person. Sometimes you just have to also, think about it. Because the thing is, Night City isn't
No
a
Pazura
very
to,
peaceful place.
Pazura jest...
So you can never play like a full pacifist who was never engaging in any kind of combat.
On to nie wiem, do
People
Shreka
will
mógłby
attack you
podkładać.
sometimes, but you can choose to, not kill them, because like
Ja bym
in
się
real
za
life,
kija
sometimes
nadawał.
if
No
there's
to
attack,
jest
you
oczywiste
don't immediately
przecież.
kill everyone. You can solve situations in different ways.
Tomasz
One
Kot.
thing I'd actually
No
like
ale
to add
Kot
to that
obecnie
is
jest,
that,
wiesz,
we're trying really
na
hard,
swoim topie,
to
także
not
podejrzewam,
actually
iż...
punish players for the playstyle they choose to do, right? Whether it is that
No
you
Kot
play
rzeczywiście,
lethal or
tak.
non-lethal or like more aggressive versus a more subtle kind of
Laska.
approach. While
No, Laska
NPCs
to już
might sort of have certain wishes for you how
zniknął,
to
że
approach
tak
the
powiem.
situation. They will never outright punish you
Habior,
for not,
o,
sort of
charakterystyczny
doing their
też.
wishes.
Krzysztof Ibisz podmucił.
No
No słuchajcie, dla pana Krzysia Ibisza na pewno coś by się znalazło tutaj. O, Więckiewicz.
There's nothing worse than like accidentally slipping on the trigger. You're like, I didn't mean to kill him, and then everything
exactly.
Yeah.
And as an example, you can also see a Sasquatch that we show in our demo. It's a really intense fight, but actually, if you choose, you can subvert that fight. You can maybe just, sneak around her and find a different solution, and then maybe,
No Dorociński jest zbyt topowym chyba aktorem, żeby on w ogóle coś takiego zgodził się na coś takiego. Dorociński jest topem w Polsce. Top 3 zdecydowanie. Dorociński, Kot i nie wiem kto jeszcze.
Because that was another build from in the deep dive. What kind of skills does that give someone then, as opposed to Netrunner?
I think that the most typical like solo fantasies that our players have is to be a strong solo and to be fast solo.
Gameplay już był, kolego, a wydaje mi się, że pod
but
koniec
you
może
can
jeszcze
also
coś
build
być,
in
a przynajmniej
type
czekam
of
tylko po
hybrid
to,
you
nie?
want, but the strong one is the person who can, you know, like shove
Wiktor
people into
Zborowski
the trash
Podmurzyna.
bins and
O
so on,
tak!
everybody's run with them.
Tylko
But
nie
you
wiem,
can
jak pan
also,
Zborowski
like, pick up the heavy guns,
w ogóle
you know, mounted
żyje.
to the turret and, like,
Czy
use
jeszcze
it
pracuje,
against,
czy
you
nie
know, the
pracuje?
opponents. Like we
Nie mam
have shown that
pojęcia.
in the recording for a moment, you know, when V is like just, you know, like killing everything on her way with this very heavy gun, you of course cannot like take it to your inventory and run around with everything with it everywhere, but this is the only, like, I would say, build that allows you to
No
do
tak
that,
nie będziemy
right?
grać,
So,
jak tutaj
this is
pokazują,
very special.
że z
However,
jakąś
if,
wielką giwerą.
like, as a fast solo,
Maciek
you have
musiał.
access to lots of
O.
different traversing skills. So as an as a
Oglądałem
means of
pana
exploration,
Macieja
you can,
Musiała w
for
jakimś
instance, do
serialu
double jump
takim
and access places that you would not have otherwise,
w alternatywnej
right? You can
rzeczywistości
also, you
się
know,
to
like, slide
działo.
around with your katana or like slide around
No
using
niestety.
nanowire that we have also
Są to
shown.
marne rokowania.
So, you can be built in a completely different ways.
Nie oglądałeś
built based
Johnny'ego
on the stats
Wicka?
that you have picked as a person.
Sounds really, really cool. I'm
No
just
myślę,
gonna
że
run
jest
in
to
like
fajny
things
film
and just punch
sensacyjny.
everything Until I get what I want.
W kilku momentach cię zaskoczy.
Yeah,
This
exactly
game
the same.
is so close to real life.
Nie no, Adamczyk to
Incredible, actually.
Literally happens every day.
So
Barciś.
we know we've talked about Netrunner and Solo, and we've shown both of them in our deep dive, but that's not just
Cezary
it, right?
Żak.
Like, there are other builds, so, you know, maybe tell us about Techie.
Yeah. So generally how we approach this kind of stuff is
1981 czy coś takiego,
we're
tak.
thinking of
Jakaś
three sort of main
data, to znaczy
archetypes of how
jakiś
you
rok.
play the game. That would be the Netrunner
Cieślak z
playstyle,
KMN-u,
right,
nie?
the solo playstyle, which as Paweł said, sort of branches
On to pod Shreka
into
mógłby podłożyć.
sort of more agile, fast solo and the more brutish,
Ale
strong solo character.
komisarz
and then the
Ryba
last one, which is the techie.
uważam, że
Yeah, it's just
mógłby
important for
dostać
us to
jakąś
say that
rolę.
These are just archetypes that you know, help us think about how players
Czy
might
słyszałem o
approach any
filmie
kind of
Patryka
situation,
Wegi,
but
ale
of
jaki
course you'll be able
polityka?
to create any kind of hybrid and just pick the
Słyszałem.
skills that you like in between. And the techie, you know, is sort of a more technically affiliated playstyle.
Obejrzałeś i
right?
dopiero zrozumiałeś
whereas the Netrunner,
aluzję o Łówku i psie,
is
no.
the one that sort of manipulates
No.
devices that are active.
Nie można
by
zabijać mu
hacking
psa
networks
i
and
nie można
taking
go
over
zostawiać w
control.
pobliżu
The
ołówka.
techie is actually the one that sort of dabbles with the
Marek
hardware
Kondrat.
itself.
O,
and
Kondrat to już nie
cables
weźmie niczego
and
takiego, nie,
whatever
nie.
drives machinery, all that stuff. And to add on top of that, we're actually layering our little buddy called Flathead, and he is what we call a spider bot, a kind of very sophisticated piece
Boberek.
of military hardware.
No, Boberek ma
and
taki
that the
dosyć.
player will be able to use when he chooses to.
Ja jestem
to,
ciekawy
you
właśnie
know,
w podziemiach, ile
invest
będzie
into
takich
the
zakamarków,
playstyle. And
gdzie będzie
Flathead
można
is an interesting one,
pójść i
because,
znaleźć coś
he's
ciekawego.
pretty, like, basically like this autonomous
Że nie
robot
będzie tam
that listens to your commands,
prowadziło żadne
and you can
konkretne
basically
zadanie,
send
tylko
out
po prostu
Flathead to
eksplorujecie
do
sobie
certain
jakieś
things
podziemia,
for you, right?
kanały
You
i
might
tak
be
dalej
able to send
i
him
nagle
out to
się tam coś
manipulate
zacznie.
certain devices, right? There might be, I don't know, let's come up with an example here. There is some sort of
Czy słyszałem o filmach Piłsudski, Legiony?
broken lamp
Coś
or
tam
something,
słyszałem.
or like a broken gadget. You can see it with your scanner, right? And you might actually send Flathead to do a little bit of tweak it.
Czy czekam
there
na
to
Psy
make that
3?
object
Pewnie,
fall
że
down
tak.
onto an enemy, right?
No, Psy to
or
jest
other examples would
film
be
mojego
to
dzieciństwa,
use
także
Flathead to, you know, directly engage with enemies. There's a certain customization
Siara
options
Siarzewski,
that might be tied to,
no ale to
a
wybitnie
buddy
taki
robot,
komediowy.
and, I hope actually players will get like oddly
Postać Siary tak
to their little robot
do tego aktora
buddy,
przylgnęła,
right?
że
No,
Habior też mam
layer
wrażenie,
of
że
how
jest
you
na
might play the
szczycie
game.
obecnie
And
swoich
as I said
możliwości.
earlier, with us thinking of the archetypes,
Jest aktorem
it is
bardzo
like
charakterystycznym.
one of the many possible ways of how to play the game, and we're trying to add as many tools as we can for all three of these archetypes to really sort of be able
Habior
to
za tego
manipulate the
Dextera
game world and
chyba głos by
feel
mu
like,
pasował.
yeah, this world, you know, if I look around, I see opportunities that suit me. You know, you've maybe fantasizing
Czy
to play
przez
as
gry
sort of
ludzie stają się
Terminator kind of character,
agresywni?
right? We have our scanner, you look around, see opportunities and you
Myślę,
see
że
them,
ludzie
and
stają
that-
się
and how you
agresywni
see
przez
them,
wszystko.
what opportunities arise for you. Really
Przez
just
gry,
depends on
przez,
what
nie
kind
wiem,
of,
zakupy w sklepie, przez potknięcie się na ulicy, przez słuchanie muzyki, przez oglądanie filmów. No właśnie, bronie to jest coś, co mnie bardzo interesuje. Ja bym chciał, żeby tu były bronie ciche. A na razie to, co nam pokazali, to...
There are smart guns that we have shown in a previous demo like a year ago. So basically they shoot like homing bullets that are following target. There are also tech weapons, and the tech weapons are those that have like additional capabilities to them that they for instance can pierce covers. And there are also power weapons, and power weapons are mainly focused on being a street grid weapons, so they basically have additional skills and
czyli 3 rodziny broni, tylko że w którejś z nich coś cichego jest. Mam nadzieję, że jakiś kusza mała, tak jak w Deusie.
Plenty of work to making sure that the weapons feel well and they have their weight. And there's lots of really cool examples that I can give here. For instance, there is a handgun that as you use it, it actually speeds up the bullets slowly, and longer you use it, faster the bullets become, so they can do more things and they can do more damage. There is, for instance, like a class of the weapons for handguns that has been created by a Russian company to fight cyborgs. And that weapon is able to heat up the bullet to the point that the bullet becomes almost like a melted plastic, and is done, for instance, so you can shoot off, cyborgs' arms and so on. So there's always like a small piece of story, wrapped up around the weapon.
Ciekawe, czy miny będą, bo lubię. Takie miny by mogły być jak w tym, w Half-Life'ie.
Firing mode for a weapon, and not all weapons have them. But some of them, if you use them in a specific way, let's say a tech rifle that we have shown in a previous demo, when you use it in a specific way, it changes its way, it collapses together, and then it allows you to pierce up the covers and shoot through the walls and shoot the enemies like that. Or you can, bounce bullets off the walls, right, using the ricochet. We try to always put enough depth into the gun. For instance, literally today, I have seen awesome shotgun that has 8 barrels, and it shoots them in the same time. And it has actually I think that players will love our gunplay, especially the way how the guns look and how they feel when you shoot them.
I'm so excited. Yeah. Shotguns, they're my favorite. 8 barrels, even better.
I think also something really cool to add to this is that, as you already touched on it, all of these companies, these gun manufacturers and all that stuff, they actually, a lot of it comes from the actual lore, right? But we're also making sure that, there's a history to everything. That includes the brands and ads that we have in the game. We actually have a whole team dedicated to just that
kind of stuff.
1060 pójdzie pewnie, it sort of is in line with our philosophy to make sure that
nie mogły być filmem dzieciństwa Hallacka, bo nigdy nie był piękny i młody. Byłem kiedyś młody i piękny, co ty gadasz? Co ty kurczę wiesz? Witam serdecznie, panie Kapel.
This place exists, right? This feels alive, and I think that will make just the fact of simply
Powtórz suchara o zajączku, lwie i motylku. To już opowiadałem raz i wystarczy.
So actually one of the cool things we also have is we have lots of different melee weapons. And it starts by very spontaneous ones. So let's say you find a broken bottle and you just use it, or you find a knife on the ground and you can use it to fight melee, or you can, as an example, throw it. But you can also specialize.
Albo żeby można było przylepić coś gościowi.
Maybe you want to play as a cyber ninja, and of course, as a cyber ninja, there's many different katanas that you can actually also specialize in getting.
Czyli broń biała będzie.
There's even cyberware for melee, like the gorilla fists that can also be used to, be really strong and open doors. But
ja bym wolał ciche bronie niż. Broń biała to średnio najeżdża.
Using your melee weapons together with special cyberware. So as an example, my favorite cyberware that I always like to use is the Sandevistan. And essentially it slows down time
Czemu
for you
słaba
because
jakość?
your reflexes get boosted.
Bo mam słaby
so
internet.
Superhuman reflexes. And the way
Najważniejsze, żeby można było siku robić. Dokładnie.
So imagine you have your
nie padło jeszcze to pytanie. Jeżeli nie można sikać, to
go through, and it actually feels really cool. You feel like you have super control But actually, you can also see as an example in the
Zagadka,
demo how it feels
jaki
like to be
dźwięk
in the
wydawał
receiving
okręt
end of
błyskawica
cyberware like that.
wychodząc w
So the
morze?
animals have reflex boosting cyberware as well. So actually sometimes when they're
taki wydawał dźwięk.
they zip around really
That's
fast.
what that is.
Exactly, and this is how it actually feels for enemies when you have your, you know, slow-mo, this is how they see you moving around. So it can be pretty scary to also find someone
Nie ma
who uses the
pokazanej
same
gry, bo już
cyberware
była
you use.
pokazana,
What about
niestety.
you two then? What are your favourite cyberwares that you've seen so far that you can talk about so far before you get me in trouble?
Oh, I think that at least for me, I think those are gonna be mantis blades. I think that's the best one.
Mantis Blades to w ogóle nie jest mój styl. Ani to chodzenie po ścianach za pomocą tych mantisów to też jest nie mój styl.
Something of a it's very poetic, I would say. Yeah, and in other cyberware, I think that I would like it's more story related. It's Mr. Stud. I will let our players to figure it out what it does for those who know the lore a bit.
For me, Philip already took it away by taking the strong arms earlier and the son of his done. So, bit of a greedy dude over there. No, but so I guess technically the cyber deck is a piece of cyberware, right? That's the one that actually allows you to breach into networks, take over control and, you know, use all that.
No na kanale dzisiaj w kiermaszu nie było, bo inny film wleciał rano i dlatego nie było.
In the gameplay we show how you can not only manipulate this training robot, but you can also manipulate devices that you might not think are necessarily
No to właśnie to jest największa niespodzianka dzisiejszego streama. Że chciałem wam zakomunikować, że to mój głos będzie podkładany jako Keanu Reeves. A widzicie, nikt się tego nie spodziewał.
Like a squad's internal network by hacking directly into the personal links of enemies. And once you're in the squad network,
no ja bym chciał to połączenie właśnie Netrunnera z jakimś takim,
and to essentially quick hack the cyberware that is,
nie wiem. Muszę poczytać o tych klasach postaci, jeżeli będą takie same jak 2020.
You're a netrunner kind of character, you're sneaking through, but then things get hot. Right? So now you find yourself in a
ale nie chciałbym być taką postacią, która tylko hakuje. Jeszcze chciałbym ciche zabójstwa.
These enemies start swarming you, and what do? Of course, you start using your scanner.
Nie, Mountain Blade to nie jest dla mnie
gra. You realize, hey, I breached the security, so I can now upload my virus software into these guys to make them do things that they don't necessarily want. You might hack their cybernetic hand to force them to pull the pin on a grenade they have at their, grenade belt, setting them to a fiery and explosive, but spectacularly looking death. Alternatively, we also have one that you can actually use to basically make enemies finish themselves off, right? They'll shut themselves down. And it's actually really cool because you sort of see them struggling with their hand as well. So it's like it really sells the fantasy of what you're doing, right? And
nie, dzisiaj żadnej gry na streamie nie będzie, niestety.
Take over a network, and it really is something that, feels so different from the other play styles that we have, and I really like the sort of level of variety that we offer players when it comes to that. And I think that ultimately, and pardon me for being a bit buzzworthy about this, but like this will really make each playthrough very unique to players, right? Not only the way you play it, the way you interact with the world, the way you talk to people, all that kind of stuff. Like if you look at all the little choices that accumulate through the game, no playthrough will basically be like another. And inherently they will also feel very differently depending on what kind of character you want to play. And I guess
no właśnie to, co młotem wywijało, to wydaje mi się, że to kobieta była.
Having your cyber deck, because otherwise you could not be a netrunner. And then I think I've mentioned
gameplay
before
już był,
another video of sorts that I really like are nanowires, which go hand in hand sort of with this net running playstyle. I guess you can see where my personal preferences lie. Don't worry, it does not affect my designs. I try to be balanced. Like whereas the regular netrunner can sort of breach into a squad network.
No tak wydaje mi się,
by
że to
sort
była
of taking
kobieta
an enemy
taka
out, having
przerośnięta.
an extra option to breach into their squad's network.
Kiedy
The
pani się
nanowires
zacznie
actually allow you
rozbierać,
to do this from a distance or from a
no jak
safe
pojedziesz
spot,
tam,
right?
gdzie oni siedzą,
And they can also be used to slice people
uskutecznisz
into bite-sized pieces.
odpowiednią
So
barierę,
again, as Philip said much earlier, if I remember
ponadskakujesz jej
correctly,
trochę, to w
we've been doing
końcu
this for a bit.
może do tego momentu
There's
dojdzie.
actually, you know, no playstyle
Czy
that
będzie
is
można
sort of
demo pobrać? Nie
meant
sądzę.
to be played in a certain way, right? We don't go, okay, the hacker kind of character, he's the stealthy guy, he needs to operate from the shadows, whereas the solo type, he's the one that, you know, just goes out and shoots everyone. No, you can actually still, within these playstyles, choose how you play.
Na pewno nie będę grał tym
character,
solo, to jest
lethal,
zupełnie
non-lethal,
nie mój
stealthy, and
styl w takich
non-stealthy.
grach.
And we just give you the tools in all playstyles to do whatever you want with it, right? So if you want to be a combat netrunner, if you will, that likes to use gunfire and, you know, making people blow themselves up, sure, go do that, but you can also do it in a stealthy approach. It really lies in the player's
Tylko, że on teraz mówi o rzeczach, o których wszyscy
So
już
let's say
wiedzą,
I've got my 8
kurka.
barrel shotgun. It's
Właśnie
it's
tego
my
się
favorite
najbardziej
gun.
bałem.
I love it. What can I do to it? Can I customize it? Is it moddable? Are there any options for, you know, really making something special?
To pytanie, które teraz zadała, to
I
też
think
wszyscy
we can
znają
say
odpowiedź
that there
na
are
to.
like two major ways what you can do, how you can customize your guns. One way is customizing the visuals, and those are different skins and like paint overs, paint jobs that you can have on your gun just to make sure that, you know, when you're a Cupid, that your rifle is pink or purple, you know, if you really want it. But then there's the second way how you can customize it. It's a different sort of attachments that you can have. You can have silencers, you know, you can have like a sniper rifle zoom on the gun. You also can boost up the stats of the given weapon. So in that way, you can basically make it more efficient. So you can make it to look the way you want, and you can make it to shoot the way you want.
I think, Miles, you've mentioned this before, that also changes the animation, right? As it progresses, you can change the way it looks as you reload and things like that.
Yeah, so basically the more you use your guns, who figures, the better you become at shooting them, right? You might start as a complete amateur, like I would be with shooting a gun.
Good to know.
But yeah, I'm not a very good shot. And the better you become with it, you know, that actually affects your way of handling a gun. So, you know, your crosshair might become smaller, indicating that your accuracy increases ever so slightly. And
Gościu mówi o takich oczywistościach, które
the
no...
way your animation looks like, your reload speed will be faster and all that stuff. So you actually really get this sense of progression and your character evolving as you play the game. And yeah, I think that's pretty special sort of.
Wydaje mi się, że za bardzo nie mogą za dużo powiedzieć i ciągle się kręcą w tych samych ramach.
Kind of really have this feeling that yeah, this is my signature gun, right? And I'm really good with it.
Right, guys, thank you so much. I know there is one thing we haven't talked about from the demo, and that is a little bit more about the gangs. We spoke about the Voodoo Boys a bit, but we haven't even really spoken about the animals. And while I know you guys know everything about Cyberpunk, I thought I'd actually throw out to maybe the godfather himself. So I caught up with Mike Pondsmith at Gamescom to ask him, who are the Voodoo Boys and who are the animals?
Hi, my name is Mike Pondsmith and I'm the guy who killed your Cyberpunk characters.
Gość ma świetny głos,
I'm going
naprawdę.
to talk to you about two very important things. I'm going to talk to you about animals, and I'm going to talk to you about the Voodoo Boys. So, let's take the Voodoo Boys. When I created them many, many years ago, I was looking at kind of a really interesting idea, which is what we would now call cultural appropriation. What happens when somebody comes in and tries to adopt a culture that
Gościu
they know
prawdopodobnie
little or
drugą
nothing
młodość
about
przeżywa
and does it
teraz.
really badly. But one of the great
Jak
things
się
about
dowiedział, że
having a few
Redzi
years
chcą się wziąć
is
za
that you get a
jego
chance to do some
uniwersum.
research. One of the best ones is what we have with the Voodoo Boys now. The Voodoo Boys in 2077
Gameplay już był.
are really Voodoo Boys. They inherited the name, but it was sort of a natural fit. They were coming from Haiti and
Sniper Ghost
Dominican
Warrior.
Republic, and they were the real thing. And they've managed to take a lot of the elements of their original culture and meld it into the world of 2077 to bring that cyberpunk vibe into a very old and respected culture.
Chcą robić Cyberpunka aż do oporu. No, słuchaj, to będzie naprawdę zupełnie nowy świat. Można tylko porównać do takich wielkich serii właśnie jak Mass Effect czy Fallout.
On the other hand, they're the animals. Way back in my dark, dank past, I used to lift. Don't anymore, but I used to. And I would see guys like the animals in the gym I went to. Guys who lived to get strong, and get really strong, and get really strong. The animals are like those guys. They're in it to basically build themselves up, become the tigers of their particular.
Jak oceniam gameplay?
They want to be big, they want to be bad, and they want
No
you
nie
to
pokazali
fear
go
them
tak, jakbym
just
chciał.
because they exist. And, you know, it's really
Za
easy
dużo
to fear a guy
strzelania
who blots
ogólnie
out
w
the
tych
sun when
ich
he walks by you.
prezentacjach,
But
jak
the
dla mnie
animals are
jest.
very
Za dużo
simple. They have
strzelania.
an ethos: get big, lift, get strong, lift. So unlike the Voodoo Boys, who have a culture, the animals have a thing. And contrasting that is interesting, because in 2077, you get a chance to see that not every gang is the same as every other gang, and what motivates them depends on the people you meet on the street. Check it out. This is Mike Pondsmith saying, I'm still here to kill your Cyberpunk character.
We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into Cyberpunk 2077. Now don't forget, you can join us on Twitter, Facebook, forums and even
Właśnie, nie pokazali szabru, przecież nigdzie nie jest, nie pokazali szabru.
Cyberpunk 2077 is launching April 16th, 2020 and is available for pre-order now. On behalf of everybody working on Cyberpunk and here at CD Projekt Red, we thank you for watching, your ongoing support, and we can't wait for you to explore Night City.
Kurde, nie pokażą już nic. No widzę, że tu na Twitchu się podoba ludziom. Będzie siekiera. Oj, będzie siekiera. $47,000 ludzi dotrwało do końca. Dobra, słuchajcie, kończymy ten stream. Zrobiłem tylko taki krótki dzisiaj. Jutro sobie pogramy w straszną gierkę, a później, bo co to dzisiaj jest za dzień? Niestety, ale piątek. No, to jutro sobie w gierkę pogramy. Ostatni weekend wszystkich przed szkołą, bo jak szkoła się zaczyna dla dzieci, to szkoła też się dla rodziców zaczyna tak naprawdę. Kiedy stream na Twitchu? Bo nie wiem, czy kiedyś możemy na próbę zrobić, ale po co? Nie, Pagan nie. Także dobrej nocki wszystkim życzę. Trzymajcie się. A jutro rano może wejdzie filmik o racji bojowej. Chociaż mam problem z renderowaniem filmów powyżej 20 minut. Nie wiem dlaczego. Dobra. Także trzymajcie się.